Good day, everyone. This is a pre recorded episode, recording this Sunday evening. This is for Monday, though, special YouTube edition of Fed League Flash. And we're just going to be on one topic. Shouldn't take too long here, but very important week this week. As you know, the roster limits have been a constant source of discussion up to now. We started off the year as everyone was in camps. The roster limit's going to be 19. And then there were so many players that were called up to the ECHL and the SPHL. Teams were just left scrambling to find people. Um, and then, some players are coming back. So the league said for an interim, they would allow the teams that started off the year to have a roster of 22. All right. That grace period ends this week. By the time we get to Thursday, when we have our first couple of games, everyone's got to be paired back to the 19th. So, we decorate for Christmas early. All right. So this is just a general list that I'm going to go through regarding the teams, their current roster. Let's see, their current roster and some other news and notes here. We got currently how many people are on their roster. Looking at skaters versus goalies, and in parentheses you got forwards and defensivemen, and then over here we have the number in parentheses that basically says this is how many people they have on the inactive list, whether it's players that failed to report or it's players that are currently up in the SPHL, but their rights are being held by these clubs. All sorts of interesting numbers here. Now, I am going to start with I'm just going to go in order of the standings. We're going through the Continental Division first and then the Empire Division. Starting off with, in first place right now, is the Mississippi Seawolves. 2-0. Yep. All right, so they're good. Their roster is set. They have 19 on their roster, 16 skaters, 3 goaltenders. Now, there is no requirement saying that teams have to have 3 goaltenders. I think most teams are just going to go with 2. However, Mississippi has opted at this point to carry 3 goaltenders. They've got 16 skaters. They're fine. If they want to release someone and sign someone else, they're free to do that as long as they don't exceed the 19. Except for, remember, there's those 4-game contracts that each team is allowed, up to 14. So, 14 times 4 equals 56 games in a year. So that helps you to cover losses for call-ups or suspensions or injuries. All right, so Mississippi is fine. They don't have to do a darn thing. And I think right now, after this last weekend, they're feeling pretty good about their club. So I don't expect any moves from Joe Pace. All right, so next we go to the Motor City Rockers. Now, they're in pretty good shape. They have 20 on their list. All right, so that means one's got to go. Now, they have 18 skaters, 2 goalies. Their breakdown forwards to defensemen is 12 and 6. So I would think it would make the most sense that they release a forward. Although they may not have to release anyone at all. Jonathan Giuliano right now is signed as a player. He played both games this last weekend. Does he continue to do that? Or does he just say, you know what? I'm an assistant coach on the team. I'm just going to be coach. We're down to 19. It's a possibility. Or they may say, the Rockers may say, we're going to let so and so, one of our forwards, go. Um, anyway, either is a possibility. Now, Port Huron Prowlers, they have 21 on their roster. Um, and the wrench in the works is Tucker Scantlebury and Liam Freeborn have both been returned from the SPHL. So right now they're listed as failed to report, hence putting them on the inactive list. Um, do you bring them back? Do you wait? What do you do? All right. 21 is on their roster. So they've got 19 skaters, 2 goalies, 11 and 8 is their breakdown. I don't see the purpose in keeping 8 defensemen. So I would think most likely they're probably going to release a forward and a defenseman. Now, if they want to fit Scantlebury and Freeborn in, they're going to have to cut a couple others so that they can come on to the team. All right, Carolina, the next 3 teams, Carolina, Columbus, and Baton Rouge, they are all still in camp. They haven't played yet. First game is Thursday for the Baton Rouge Zydeco and the Columbus River Dragons. So they're already on the trajectory of trimming down their roster from what they have in camp. So it's no big worry. It's gonna pan out in the end. Now, right now, Carolina has 22 in their camp. They're the last team to play. They don't play until Friday, meaning they don't have to have the roster down to 19 until Wednesday. Right now, they have 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders. So I would think they're going to take one of 2 courses of action: either cut 2 forwards and 1 defenseman, or they'll just cut 3 forwards. Now they have 11 on their inactive list, but I suspect strongly that 2 will just be marked as released because they're not coming back. That being Rowe and LaFrance. All right, Columbus 23 in their camp, and this is kind of interesting. We're currently 15 forwards, 4 defensemen, need more D, and 4 goalies. So I'm thinking at least 1 goalie is definitely going to go. You got 6 inactive players on call-ups. Probably Ozelinch will be released because he's playing in Europe. He said he's not coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if he's cut. All right, and then Baton Rouge, they're in a bizarre situation. Currently, they have 17 in camp, so they're looking to add. Now, they're probably going to be adding from their list of players who failed to report. No, I'm not going to get into that whole story. Those, if you know, you know. But I'm not going to go delving into that. But they do have 12 listed as inactive, failed to report. I'm sure that some of those players will end up on the roster, bringing them to 19. All right, we go to the Empire Division. Everybody, everybody in the Empire Division has 22 on their current roster, so everybody's looking to cut 3. For the Binghamton Black Bears, currently 14 forwards, 5 defensemen, 3 goaltenders. They have they're looking at 9 on their inactive list currently. So I'm thinking you're probably dropping 2 forwards and a goaltender, which is a real shame because Binghamton, all 3 goaltenders have gotten the start and all 3 have played very well. So it's really going to be a shame to see one of those guys go, but league rules, you got to do what you got to do. For the Danbury Hat Tricks, again, 22 on the roster, 14 forwards, 6 defensemen, 2 goalies, 15 on their inactive list. Many of those players are up in the ECHL or the SPHL. Most of them probably will not come back. They're good enough that they can stick it out in the higher leagues, but some may come back later on. So Danbury's got a ton of possible future decisions, but for right now, all they've got to do is cut three. And I'm thinking they just let go of three forwards, most likely. They've always seemed to work well with a core group of six defensive men. I think that's what Billy McCreary sticks with. For the Elmira River Sharks, their roster is the same 14, 6, and 2. So I'm looking at probably three forwards being cut. Plus, you may have to release another one in order to fit in Larry Vartiainen, who's coming over from Europe. He's been playing over in Europe, taking him some time to get in. So when he gets in and is able to report, because right now he's marked as failed to report, he can't teleport himself. Um, you may end up cutting four currently on the roster, but for the immediate impact before Thursday's game, three have to be gone. Watertown, now they have 23 on their roster, but they did not put TJ Delaney, who is currently inactive, separate. So really, they're at 22. Again, with them, 14 forwards, also five defensemen, three goalies. They could elect to keep all three goalies, and there's one I know that everybody is curious about. What happens to Travis Ridgen? Does he stay or does he go? Um, we will see. I think that probably at this point, Watertown will probably let go of three forwards and end up going 11, 5, and 3. Um, but I could be wrong because I'm not the GM. I'm not Charlie Pence Jr. All right. So finally, Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge. No, no, no. We already did them. It's Blue Ridge Bobcats. All right. 22 on their roster. And again, it's listed as 23, but Don Carter Jr. is not available. He's inactive. So in reality, they're at 22. 12 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 3 goaltenders. Now, Coach Zemlicka loves a good defensive system. So I don't see him letting any defensive men go. I think he ends up cutting 2 forwards, plus one goaltender. That's Parker Rutherford. Yeah, he has not reported, um, but Connor Green and Pavlas both played this last weekend. So I think that's a 2 you're probably going with. I'm thinking 2 forwards and the goalie. So that is the scenario that I am looking at. Of course, I could end up being very surprised, and everybody's going to end up being at 19, but um, they may choose to cut different positions, different number. So we will see. But yeah, it's going to be a rough week because every team's got to make these tough choices. Who we let go? Because I think, especially with the Empire Division, the teams that have played, they're all really comfortable with their 22. Alas, three have to go. So there we go. It's going to be a very interesting week. We'll keep you up to date on roster moves and transactions. And in the meantime, we go on. All right. Thank you so much for watching again here on YouTube, Spotify. We're going to be doing this week Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Normally it's Monday through Thursday, and we'll be keeping you up to date as well on Facebook. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support, and we will join you again soon. Yeah, Thursday, Spotify is going to have the team previews for the games that night, so tune in to Spotify. All right, take care. We'll talk to you later.